I'm going to help you throw away the time excuse out the window in the next 10 minutes. Now, I'm not going to do a Molly Bay and say everyone has the same 24 hours, but there is going to be a concern about getting the things that you need to be done. Now, I am logical, my brain is logical, and when I look at my diary and things, I categorize things in time blocks, and most people don't actually have a routine. Most people go to work 9 to 5 and they end up having their 9 to 5 scheduled out in the right way, but they don't have their before or their after scheduled in the same way, in the same demand. So then when you start a diet and you do something new, you've got all these new things that you need to do and not enough quote unquote time. As I said in another video, which you can see here, is most people do not have a time issue, they have a non-negotiability issue with their schedule. Most people have enough time somewhere, somehow, across the week, across a whole 7 days, across a whole 30 days to get the things done that they need to. But most people have a non-negotiability attitude that it turns into negotiability as you go through. Picture this, you wake up in the morning, you're supposed to do your workout at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and you wake up, that alarm just goes off and you snooze it and you think, I'll just get to my workout after work. After work comes, you're too tired, you end up going home and you sit on the sofa and you don't get the workout done. You might get some steps in, but you don't get the workout done. Tomorrow starts again, you do the same thing again, over and over again, until by the end of the week, you've got one workout in out of your 4 and you've done very minimal steps to help you, burn those calories that you need to on that diet. So what we do with our autonomy clients is we look at a routine for the whole 7 days across the week. Now, it's super easy. You need to find pockets of time to block things in. People see 10K steps or 10,000 steps as a big chore, but when you break it down that you need 90 minutes of walking a day, you can start looking at your diary a little bit differently. So you need 45 minutes for a workout plus the commute or the travel if you're going to a gym, or at home you just need those 45 minutes plus a coffee. And with the steps, you need 90 minutes a day to get those 10K steps in. It doesn't matter where you're doing it, how you're doing it, but you can just simply put in 30 minutes of walking here, 30 minutes of walking there, 30 minutes of work. That's just 90 minutes, super, super simple. And once you have that diary in place where you've got the blocks in your diary across the day, you may have a big time issue, you may have lots of demands on you. That means that you can't do 90 minutes of walking, but you might be able to do 60. Find as much as you can do in that diary, and then when you start the day, it's key to not have that negotiability. You can't negotiate on something that has to be done specifically at this moment. Otherwise, you end up missing it and then you end up not doing it on that day. So non-negotiability is key. You wake up and that workout is 7:30 till 8:30, you have to do it then. Putting pressure on yourself is actually a really good thing when it comes to diary management, because if there's no pressure, you'll put it off and then you won't be able to do it. So looking at that from a time perspective is super, super key. Second thing is most people don't have the habits in place to know what it takes to accumulate all the things that they need to do. You might actually need to wake up earlier to do everything that you need to do. And most people look at their day and they see that the end of the day is absolutely non-negotiable for that 2 hours of Netflix, that 3 hours of whatever they're doing, and they end up going to bed super late compared to what they need to. We need to start chunking out the noise, the things that are non-absolutely essential, to make room for the things that are essential for the goals that you have for this time period. So let's picture this. You've spent 2.5 hours from 8:30 p.m. in the night time to 10:30 p.m. at night, and you are doing nothing but watching TV and watching Netflix and chilling out or resting for the rest of the day. By the time you get to bed at 11 o'clock or 11:30 because you've watched an extra episode, you are now tired too much to then wake up early morning to get the things done in the morning time where you have that time available. So then you go in this perpetual cycle of doing things in the evening that are not conducive to your goals, not waking up in time, and then end up not doing your fitness related activities. Something has to give. It's either the goal or the unwanted time. Picture this. Most of my clients, and I do the same thing, is when I do my treadmill walking in the morning or I do my steps in the morning, I do the thing that I was going to do in the evening, just in the morning. So if I'm standing on the treadmill, I'm watching my Netflix episode, I'm watching Amazon Prime, I'm watching Steph Curry's Underrated, I'm watching Suits, or whatever it is on Netflix I'm picking that time from. I'm taking what I did in the evening to being less conducive to now in the morning when I'm doing something with it. It's called habit stacking. If you listen to James Clear's or read James Clear's Atomic Habits, it's about stacking something you don't want to do with something that you want to do at the right time. So in the morning, if you're walking and you're listening to a book or you're listening to Netflix or you're watching Netflix as you step on the treadmill or walking, you are doing something that you need to do with something that you like to do, and you're combining that together. You can do that in the evening too, but most people don't want to go out in the evenings, they don't want to walk in the dark, and they don't have a treadmill at home to do the both things. So we can change that. Once you change that evening stuff and you look at it from a perspective of, do I need to do these things right now, today, to get these benefits? Do I need to watch 2 to 3 episodes of Netflix, or do I like to watch it? Do I want to get up in the morning, or do I like the idea of it? And once you look at things ruthlessly and you look at my time is valuable, you then picture things differently. Your schedule can look different then. You can look from a perspective of like, is this right? Do I need to do it? Or is it something that I've fallen into the pattern of doing because me and my missus like to watch 3 episodes and then, we just chill and we watch TV and it's great for me right now, but those things aren't conducive to your time demands, especially if you're not doing the things that you need to do. So what we say with time is like, if you can get as much in and be ruthless with it, you'll be able to do more. So non-negotiability and then thoroughly looking through your schedule and thinking, do I need to do this right now, is going to be super key. And then the third one is looking at, have I legitimately got time? And if I don't, what are the consequences to me not having that time? So most mums who look after the little one, work a corp job, have husband need to cook food or whatever they need to do, have family responsibilities, they end up not having enough time to do the extra steps, the cardio burning, the workouts consistently all of the time. So they will have to trade off that time for other things. Fitness, health, your diet doesn't need to be a case of all these areas need to align in one go. You just need to turn the hobs on of different intensities. If you're not prepared to do the exercise and don't have the time for it, you need to change your food outcomes to have less of it to burn. If you're burning less, you need to eat less. And if the consequences of that means that you eat less to then only do the amount of steps that you need to, that's absolutely fine. But most people won't want to give up food, so they need to find a way to manage their schedule. So the easiest thing to do is, would I rather eat less food or would I rather make the time? And if you can do those two things and think about what is the worst case scenario and you don't want to give up that food, then we need to start being ruthless with our diary. And once we suggest that to our clients, with Autonomy, we help thousands of South Asian individuals drop 5 to 10 kilos and stay in shape forever. And you present that option of, would you rather eat less food or do a bit more walking? It's normally the walking that generally happens miraculously overnight. If you're a small female, 50, 55 kilos or less, and you're looking to get in shape, you really have no choice. Sorry to break it to you, but you have no choice between eating very, very little calories and having very minimal social life and being accurate super all of the time, or you have an outcome of doing more activity and steps. This one over here is going to give you more. This one over here is going to give you less food and is going to make your life a little bit less enjoyable. But the benefit of forming these relationships and habits and schedules and developing this ruthless and non-negotiability with your schedule is not just for now, it's not just for the diet, it's for later life. Because if you do 10,000 steps on a day-to-day basis, your mortality rate decreases drastically. The research, if you look on Google, it just like goes, if you do 8 to 9K steps a day, that's the healthiest for it and there's no benefit afterwards. But if you look at the research properly, the research shows that there is absolute more benefit doing 10 to 12 to 15K steps than there is doing 8 to 9. Mortality rate goes down drastically. So if you're looking at long term and you're motivated by waking up to the grandkids and spending more time with them, I would do more steps. If you're motivated by the short term and you are resistant to changing things and moving, then you have to sacrifice food. But I know which one is easier. So the easiest way to look at all of these all together is you've got a choice. You can either modulate food or you can modulate steps or you can modulate your routine. And you can look at things in a 7-day cycle as opposed to a 1-day cycle. If you look at your 7 days in advance and go, I can do these 2 things on a weekend, I can do this during the week, I can then wake up a little bit earlier to do A, B, C, and D, and you don't negotiate on that, then things start to rack up and things become more consistent. You chop out all of the noise, all the crap stuff that you don't exactly need to get the goal that you need. In 6 months' time, in 9 months' time, your schedule might look completely different. And most people, shift workers, mums, dads, frequently changing schedule, jobs, ambulance service, nurses, people that have lots of commitments outside, the temple, the church, wherever you go to, you will need to recreate your schedule on a more frequent basis. So for example, what I do is like once a month, I go into my Google spreadsheet, I delete everything from my Google spreadsheet and I recreate it again to make sure that I'm in the right space for the right moment. My diary changes in an instant because I'm traveling, I'm back to the UK, I'm in Dubai, I've got more work on, got less work on, got specific tasks that I need to do, and going off the same routine before you've got kids and now you've got kids is unproductive. You know that as well as I do if you've got kids. It's always forever changing, even the sleep cycles will change. So you guys who have an ever-changing diary and ever-changing unpredictability need to change your diary more to compensate for that. Most people don't do that to start with, and then they feel that they're overpressured, overwhelmed, but they're just not reacting to the changes that they need to fast enough to get the results that they need to and be on top of things as you go. So don't use time as an excuse. You might have less time, but it doesn't mean that time will reduce your dieting. It just means that you have to give up more things or different things to make up for that. And if you think about this, in 6 months' time, you've lost 10 kilos and you gave up 1 episode of Netflix a night for 12 weeks or 6 months, is that going to be worth the 10 kilos that you've lost? If you say no to that, then you probably don't want to lose weight in the first place. But if you want to give up 1 Netflix for an hour in the morning to do your extra work or your workouts, and you think it's a benefit, It's time to take action on that routine and those time blocks and make that happen. The non-negotiability, the ruthless with it. And once you do that, you won't have to give up the things like nutrition or dieting to the nth degree, because you're willing to do the things outside of that which are less abrasive and have less of a cost. So hopefully that helps you understand where time sits in all of this, because it's not about whether you have enough time or not, it's whether you have enough non-negotiability, structure, and you're willing to pay the cost that allows you to utilize your time properly.